Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cyclocross Social Podcast. Today we have a special episode with a special guest. With me here is Alexis, who is one of the organizers of the Brumath Bike Festival, a C1 race on the calendar. Alexis, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you to my invitation.
Could you shortly introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about the Brumath Bike Festival?
I'm Alexis. I'm 46 old. I'm a triathlete, and since 7 years I do cyclocross, and my passion since the last years is cyclocross.
So you've been organizing the Brumath Bike Festival for a couple of years now. This was the third year you were on the UCI calendar as a C1 race. Could you tell us a little bit about the venue of the race and just in general, how did you come with the idea to organize a cyclocross race at the UCI level?
3 years ago was a COVID period, and we organized a little cyclocross and a cross duathlon for the triathletes. And we show that we have a nice place to organize a big event. We have grass, we have dirt, sand, forest. It's really varied. We say on us that's a potential for a great and big race. After the COVID period, I checked how much cost the UCI race, and I say, yeah, let's go. And we find some partners, and the athletes, the partners, and the people was very happy to see this race. And we saw maybe we can for more later big race in Brumath.
This year you stepped up from the C2 to the C1 level. The course looked very pretty on the live stream. Was it a lot of extra work to become a C1 race compared to a C2 race?
The difference, the gap between C2 and C1 is the tariff for the ECI. But for the organization, since the beginning, I'll check that we have the best organization like possible. And we make all what we can to securize the parcours and the securize and for the people a nice place. For me, yeah, C1 and C2, it's for Brumath is the same job.
You say that you needed to pay a bit higher fee to become a C1
Yeah.
and that you found some good partners. This week we were in Ardooien. The organizers there told us that for a super simple race they have a budget of 170,000 euros, which seems a lot, and even they can't afford to pay start money. What are you looking at in terms of budget, a rough estimate to put on a C1 race in France?
Our budget is 110,000 euro for this year, 23 is our budget.
With that budget, I assume it's difficult at least to pay starting money to riders. Were you satisfied with the start field that you had the past couple of years?
It's my philosophy. I don't have any money for a contract for riders. It's my philosophy. So I know that many cyclocross race have start money for riders, but in Brumath, no, I don't have contract. It's my philosophy. I want that the athletes, the riders come to Brumath because we have a nice organization, we have a nice parcours. I like being close to the athletes, greeting them and at other race and keeping in touch to the years, discuss with athletes and manager and all the years of another race. And so, how you feeling? And you come next year back to Brumath. And so I have a special link with the athlete and the riders. And for this, many riders from Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, or Switzerland come back years after years in Brumath.
But despite not paying start money, as you say, the start field was pretty good. For 2 years in a row, you had one of the biggest talents of the sport, Mary Schreiber, at the start line.
Yeah.
Leonie Benveld, the Dutch U23 champion, was there. They had a very, very exciting race this year. It ended in a super close sprint. It must be amazing for a race organizer to have two of those young talents on the list of winners of your race already.
Yeah, it's very grateful for us. Maybe we have young riders. Maybe in 2 3 years they will be the best riders or woman or man of the world. I hope so for Marie or for Leonie, and also for guys, World Waves, Aaron Dox, and Jordi Corsus. They are young riders, good riders, and I'm happy that he come to Brumath to have your first race of the years, and Warb wins the year first C1 in the career is it's a great pleasure for us.
But a race is much more than just getting riders at the start. Your race takes place in the first or second weekend of October. It was the 8th of October this year. What does the logistical planning look like? When do you start meeting with the other people involved, start getting the funding together? What does the planning from the start till the day of the event roughly look like?
Just in the moment, I closed a meeting with my team for the organization of 24 of next year. Voilà. We worked hard all the years to organize this event. It's a job for 1 year. Huh? It's crazy.
So it's a year-round thing. You just have
Yeah.
the feedback session, and then when do you typically start building the course here? Because it looked like a pretty long course, coming close towards the maximum length with stairs, some nice pump tracks, lots of sand. It has a lot of potential. How long does it take to build a course like that?
3 weeks after, on Saturdays, we it's the beginning. We check the parcours, and a week before, we build the parcours.
Okay, so if you take a look 3 weeks before and build in the week before,
Mm.
who is the people building the course? It's always volunteers. Is there like a local
Yeah.
cycling club helping out, a group of friends? What does that look like?
All the volunteers, a friend, of course, of me, but many volunteers help us to build the parcours and the organization. We have 100 volunteers in total.
100 volunteers certainly seems like a group of people you need to keep an event like this running. I'm not entirely sure. Is this a free to enter event or do you sell tickets?
The price of the entry is €6 for the weekend.
And how many spectators did you gather this year?
This year, 900. He paid the entry, and we offer one or two entries for all riders of the weekend, all participants of the weekend. Then we have a young cyclocross rider, kids from 5 years old to 15 years old, and we offer two entry free for the weekend. Then totally we have affluence about 2,500 person.
All the racing this year was live on multiple platforms. It was on a local TV station, on YouTube, Twitch, Velo Plus TV. How did you get together so many people who were willing to broadcast the event? Because it's something that's super hard for almost every race organizer. They want coverage, but they struggle with it. It seems like something that went very well for you.
It's my objective to that all people of the world of Europe can watch my race. I think it's a nice race to watch, and I want that many people watch the race, and maybe next year in 2 years, many people from Belgium, Germany, Luxembourg, Netherlands come in Brumath because it's not too long way. Huh? Geographically, we are just we look at from Strasbourg, 10 kilometers, capital of Europe, and close to Germany and Luxembourg, and maybe 3 half hour or 4 hour from Netherlands or Belgium away. Can in the future a place to be for watch cyclocross.
So you say you want to grow your event. Do you have any ambitions of growing to a higher level, like maybe joining the Coupe de France or even organizing the French Championships at some point?
Last year, I discussed with UCI and Flanders Classic to maybe a World Cup, but because we have the capacity to parking, to the parkour and the infrastructure to organize a World Cup, but it's out of our budget. It's not possible, and we have two lost volunteers in at time. Maybe in 3 4 years, maybe not a World Cup. Yeah,
So maybe for now, not the World Cup, but what about the French Cup?
for me, French Cup is maybe not a good race for us. It's too many people on the start. Typically, Belgium from athlete from Belgium, Netherlands, or other country, or the best athlete of the cyclocross team don't come to a French Cup, and I will keep my place to the Europe, open to all of Europa, and done and not only of French people. Is my strategy.
And I guess the French Cup with so many people, what you also mean is they have the cadet races, a couple
Yeah.
of other races with in the cadets sometimes over 100 participants, which
When you have too many people for the sports, for the result, and for the photography, is not a good image for the cyclocross. It's not for me a good. I don't know if you understand what I want to see.
yeah,
At
I
least,
guess you just it doesn't really fit in your vision and the
yeah.
representation, and
Mm,
maybe also just in general most of the French Cup races they are on typically super wide courses. I'm not saying
mm,
that there's anything wrong with the course in Brumath. In fact, I
yeah,
think it's a very nice course with a lot of sand. But if you just consider the fact that for the cadets there's normally 100, 120 riders at the start and sometimes 100 juniors, in Brumath that will be a bit more difficult than on a course like Quelnuc where they're racing this weekend. That is a super wide course with not that many sand sections, not that many bottlenecks, and that maybe
it's
just
maybe a problem for us. Yes, you are right. Maybe we can large make larger parcours. Maybe yeah, with the sand, we can have a lot of issue.
yeah, and it's fine. I mean, not every race needs to go into the French Cup, and I guess as you said, you already talked a bit with Flanders Classics. I mean, organizing a World Cup is expensive. I think you're looking at least 300K in budget
Mm,
and more
yeah.
volunteers you need. But yeah, I mean, if that would come together, by the sound of it, you would be open to a World Cup more than to a French Cup.
Yeah, and we have a philosophy of bike festival. We want to explore many bike discipline like motorcycle, trial, gravel. We have a cross duathlon for triathletes, and we have many discipline around the bike. And we have food trucks and concerts, DJs, a beach party. It's all the weekend event. And when you do a French Cup or another cup, it's not the same for us for our best bike festival.
Yeah, absolutely. Because with the French Cup, it's 2 days of racing. Brumath is just a 1 day C1 event, and then of course that doesn't fit. And I really like the fact that it's a bigger event. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Düsseldorf, where they also have this bike festival approach, and it's great to see that people they do a gravel ride in the morning, then they come with their bikes to the finish area. They either put their bike in their car or just they came by bike, and then they just watch the racing. So, how many people were there participating in the rest of the bike event? Because from what I saw, there was a pretty decent attendance for the other events.
500 and little more.
Yeah, that seems pretty good, and
Mm.
like usual, those partly fund the event. I know in France, if I'm correct, most of the bigger races rely on local government subsidies. From Troy, they get a grant from the local government, but they only get it every other year in most regions. How is that for your event? Is that also a big factor of the budget, or is it more commercial partners?
Both of all. We have the official partners, yeah, the region and the city of Brumath help us, the region of Alsace help us, and we have private partners. The biggest partners is Lollier Engineering, is the name of the race, and we have also CIC, the bank for in French. He helps the French Federation of Cycling and another more little partners.
How would you say the situation of cyclocross is in your region of France? You're kind of the only race in the
Yeah,
Alsace is what we
that's
say in
Alsace, yeah,
Dutch.
yeah. Alsace. Yeah.
Yeah, in that region, you're kind of the only race there. How is the level of cross there?
And that is we have a good level, and year after years, we have young riders. We come in the first by the junior. Amandine Muller is second of the French championship last years, and she is first years of junior. Next championship, she's second year's juniors. You will be maybe French championship win. And Theo Thomas, it was for 2 years ago by Thomas, by Gert and Bart Wellens. In the next years, a good young cyclocross riders. I think step by step, our event can help young people from young riders from Alsace to make more and make efforts to be a bigger when a great athlete in the cyclocross.
And in general, what would you say the level of French cyclocross is? I mean, maybe not as much as like the level of the riders because we know okay, Clément Venturini two top tens in the World Cup, but
Yeah. No, but generally, it's true in French for me. Since 3 or 4 years, it keep down years after years. We don't have any athletes about Venturini in top 10, top 15 in the World Cup. We have good juniors. You can see some riders by the junior on the podium on the World Cup or on the championship, just like Leo Bizio. But after juniors, we have a problem for U23 or elite. We don't have. I don't know why. What after the junior? What is the problem? And why we don't have more athletes in the top 10, top 15 in cyclocross in the world.
many of them are usually pulled to the road. But
Yeah,
on the other hand, I think in recent years, what's been a real help for French cyclocross, and it's a shame the team isn't there anymore, the Lagrange Cross team, they were really giving
mm,
a good base level for riders who were from Switzerland and France for them to keep doing cross full time. And I think with the Clausel sisters really putting the AS bike team, I think this is also something
yeah,
that will help because if you look on that team now, they have somebody like Nathan Boumenel there who's been progressing slowly but
mm,
steadily, and they got
mm,
Laurine Durafou on board there. David Menu is a bit older,
yeah,
of course, but
yeah.
in terms of young riders, they got the board and Lequet, and it seems to be more of a base for the riders who want to fully commit to cyclocross.
Yeah, the ice bike team it's a good team. It's the last one team with good riders. And the problem in France, you must the way is too long to go to a race. In Belgium, I come to Belgium 4, 6 times in the season to watch to show cyclocross. And in Belgium, you rode an hour, half an hour, and you can't go to the cyclocross race. In France, it's very difficult to find a race narrow or maybe 2 hours or 3 hours to road. It's that's a problem for the preparation, for the recuperation. Maybe that can be a problem.
Yeah, no, I completely get what you mean. It's more difficult to race all of the time, especially if you're from certain regions. If you live in Bretagne,
Mm.
Normandy,
Yeah.
that region has concentration of races. It's not too far to go to Belgium, but if you are from Albi, where there's a cross team set up now and all your races are going to be super far away. It's easier to go to Spain than to France, and even then, it's
Mm.
still a couple of hours, and it's something that almost every country has issues with. I mean, in Italy, it's the same. If you're in the south of Italy, there's no races near you. If you are in the US, well, good luck. Everything is super far away there. If you're in Germany, there's not that many races to go to at all. So I completely get what you're saying, and it's really an advantage for Belgians and Dutch riders, the proximity of such high level races. But at the end of the day, I don't think the the level of France is too bad. They with the Clausel sisters, with it's a bit of a shame that her season wasn't that good last year. But Dean Burkier, big talent, also on the mountain bike.
No, I don't. Well, sorry, I don't see. I don't. So that French level is bad. Fine, not too bad, but we can better. I think it's better to do with the population that we have. We can. I'm sure we can have a top 10, a top five French riders of cyclocross. It's sure. Maybe I don't know why not.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something I would agree with you on. Because it's a good point you touched earlier, like especially in the juniors, and then to they're very good, and then after that it doesn't seem to hold, and it's an interesting point, and yeah, I can completely get where you're coming from, especially if you look back at the days when Francis Mouret was up there as one of the top five riders.
Mm. That's true.
Well, then I think we have completed it for the podcast. Alexis, thank you very much for your time and your insights on organizing a race in France.
I so thank you, Noah. So thank you, merci beaucoup, and I wish to your podcast the best for the cyclocross season.
That wraps it up then for this episode of the Cyclocross Social Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could follow it. I tried my best to repeat as many of the things that might have got lost in translation as I could. Would just like to clarify one more time. Alexis didn't mean to say the Coupe de France is bad. He just didn't see it as a fit. In Quelnuc there were like 165 juniors at the start. It doesn't fit on his course and with the 2-day event. He also didn't mean to say that the French level of racing was bad. He respects Venturini, he respects Joshua Dubot, he respects the Clausel sisters and the Ass Bike team. It's just that he hopes that they can do better, like they had with Mouret, a rider who could compete for World Cup wins. And especially based on the population, he hopes that a rider like Leo Bisio can stay in cross and continue to thrive there. If you have any questions, feel free to add them in the Q&A box on Spotify, or else send an email to noah@cyclocross.com. Cyclocross has 3 S's at the end. And we will see you guys this weekend when there is a lot of racing going on. Ruddervoorde, then Maasmechelen double podcast weekend, and on Wednesday there is the Koppenberg. In between we will also cover the really rad festival of cyclocross, so there is more than enough cyclocross content coming your way. Thanks for listening and goodbye.